So we're joined today on Highland League Weekly by former Inverurie Locos, Formartine, Forest Mechanics midfielder and now Huntly midfielder Jamie Michie. He's the latest person to be telling us about his memory match. So first of all, Jamie, tell us about the game you've picked out as the most memorable in your Highland League career.
Yeah, so there's obviously a few that I thought about, but I think the main one that stands out and always comes up is Inverurie Locos against Arbroath at Harlaw. I think it was in 2012, where we were 3-0 down at one point and then back to 3-1 before half time, and we managed to get it back to 3-3 in the 90th minute. So it's one that always sticks out. Obviously, there's a few you can pick from, but there's one that's always sticks as a good memory for me.
In terms of that game itself, what's your sort of recollections of it? I imagine sort of roller coaster of emotions a wee bit.
Yeah, a wee bit, and we didn't start the game very well. I think a lot of Highland League teams at that time fancied themselves against higher opposition. I think we weren't any different. It was when Paul Sheeran was in charge, and they had a good team. I can't remember if they were in League. I think they were League Two at the time, but doing really well. So we knew it was going to be tough, but we fancied ourselves. And I think Neil McLean gave away a penalty, and we were 1-0 down, and then it seemed to be 2-0 quick succession. And then the game felt like we were never going to get back into it. And then they scored, I think, to make it 3-0. When I remember the highlights, the third goal was just a complete nonsense. I think the guys flicked it in, I feel like a yard out or something. It was one of those games when it got to 3-0, I don't think anybody believed we was going to get back into it. And then we managed to get a goal, I think close to the end of the first half, which gave us something to go out and attack in the second half. And I think at halftime we realised, just maybe a spell we had at the end of the first half, that they weren't a lot better than us. They had a couple very good players like Brian Kerr and Paul Sheeran at that time, and they knocked it about well, but I didn't think they were that much higher above us in terms of ability. So we just rolled our sleeves up and had nothing to lose in the second half. And sometimes that can go your way that way. And we managed to kind of kick on in the second half. And I think Clark Bain had scored in the first half just at the end to make it 3-1, or at the very start of the second half. And then it set up, I think I was involved in one of the goals, so I'll add that in as well. And then Neil Gould doing what he's good at and managed to get us an equaliser late on in the game as well. So it's just one that always sticks out as a good memory, because it was higher opposition. And like I say, Highland League teams at that time did always fancy themselves against higher opposition. I think they do still now, but I think at that time there was a lot of good teams that always fancied to take a scalp in the Scottish Cup.
It's obviously, I mean, we were talking about this actually to let the viewers into a secret before we actually hit record. We were talking about this a wee bit, but it's kind of what you've said there, Jamie, sort of changed days a wee bit, because back then was before the pyramid, so it's not like, obviously we've had Cove and you see teams for the Lowland League now go up and show they can compete at that level. As at that time, obviously Highland League teams, the Scottish Cup was the sort of the only chance. And the other change for now, obviously 3-3 went to a replay, and back then obviously the draw was made and the winner of the replay knew they'd be heading to Celtic Park, which was obviously a big carrot. But obviously if it was now, it would be played to a finish on the day at Harlaw, and I imagine back then if it'd been played to a finish, you would have fancied your chances because all the momentum was with you.
Yeah, 100%. We were completely in the ascendancy, and I actually felt at the time, if the game had gone on we were delighted to get a draw, but the way the game was going, I think if it had gone on 5 more minutes, I actually felt they kind of had the stuff and knocked out of them a wee bit. I actually felt we'd go on and win it. I didn't think they expected us to come back, because we didn't offer too much in the first half, but I think it's one of those where the next goal was crucial in the second half. We got it, and then we went on the front foot. And like when you look at like our team, kind of bags of ability, like can Clark Bain, Parky, Spider, kind of Andy Reid, it's all Highland League stalwarts, kind of Neil McLean, and then obviously Galdi, you always fancied him with a goal. So I always felt like we could create chances, and because the way we played that second half, it would have been some feat if we managed just to get a couple extra minutes. I think we would have went and won it. Like you say, going to the replay, to get potential to get Celtic, but I can't remember if it was drawn before. I think it probably was. And then to go down there, and Locos would always get a big following, and for that game had a big following down, and then again it was just probably just a step too far for us down at that pitch. It just didn't seem to go our way on the day, where I think we're down a couple of goals early, but we just couldn't get back into it. And I actually think, if I remember correctly, we actually ended up missing a couple of guys who probably played in the first game, couldn't play the second game due to injury. So yeah, it just wasn't what meant to be, but definitely the original game and how we played and how we got back into it against a good Arbroath side is something that'll always stick with me.
You mentioned that, Jamie, and is that again obviously in terms of the cup and things later on with Formartine, you played Partick Thistle and games like that. Is that maybe the sort of wee what if moment a wee bit if you could have got through at replay? Yeah, and obviously it's a sort of dream tie.
100%, because like if you look at Bucky last season, and then I notice a lot of the guys that's going into Scottish Cup fixtures soon, and like it's the best thing. It's a chance to play a team either like in the early rounds you'll play a team from maybe down south, and then you get a chance to play these higher teams, and it's a good chance to test yourself or play at grounds you'll never really play at again. Some people in the Highland League might go and play at these grounds every week, but it's just that chance. The Scottish Cup was always exciting, even if Formartine we played we did play Clyde when Barry Ferguson was in charge, with a couple of others.
For Easter, Annan.
Yeah, we had loads, and even when I very first started at Locos, I had the Motherwell tie, the infamous one that kept getting cancelled. It's that chance, and it brings a lot to like the communities. You get a big crowd, and it's your chance to have a fame as a part-time player for a couple of weeks. So no, it is. The Scottish Cup's always great to get those chances to play against the teams higher up the leagues, because there's definitely guys that play at Highland League and Lowland League level that should be playing higher up, just maybe haven't had the opportunity or potentially don't want to because of work commitments and things like that. But when you get the opportunity in Scottish Cup, it's really exciting.
And obviously, Jamie, you've had quite a long career in the league. In terms of other games that have maybe stood out in your career for whatever reason, was there any that came close to being selected as the most memorable?
Yeah, I think that there was definitely a few at Formartine. I think there was a few kind of high scoring ones that I remember being part of in my first season there, where we ran close to the league. But the ones that always stick out, I think, is the early ones. I remember it's early days with Dave Cormie, and I got kind of chucked in a centre midfield position, and my job for the day was to stop Mike McKenzie at Devonvale getting the ball to his feet. And it was like, I loved it. I actually remember playing really well against him, but he was so good. It was my job for the day, but I had to be at it the full 90. And then there's like another one that comes up quite a lot is, I don't know who filmed it, but there's a game filmed that we were 2-0 up against Bucky. Again, it was Dave Cormie's time. And then Bucky actually got it back to 2 each, but we scored in the 90th minute to make it 3-2. And so those early games, I think, stand out. But definitely there was definitely a good few games with that Formartine team under Chris Hunter, where we had really high scoring games. Then obviously the Scottish Cup run as well. So there's definitely games I could have mentioned there. And then there was one that stuck out as well, was at Cove's old stadium at Allen Park before I went to New Zealand, where I scored a free kick, and I think it was my last game before I went to New Zealand, and I always claim I'm the last Locos player to score at Allen Park, but it was a class free kick, like.
Oh, well, if only we had the footage to show it just now, that would be all the better. Am I right? Yeah. Am I right in thinking there's a game as well where you managed to get 2 red cards, or would you rather not speak about that?
Yeah. So there's games like that stand out as well that are definitely memorable. But it was actually against Wick, and I remember it back because I won't name the referee, but he sent me off twice. So once for a pretty bad tackle, but it was on a reaction to a tackle that I received, and I just got up and went straight after the guy and went down the back of him. Just lost the head a wee bit, but when I got up, I said a few words and got a second red card as I was already walking off. So that sticks out. But the good thing with that is a lot of the referees, you end up getting to know quite a few of them, and you can speak to a few of them during the games and after the games and things. And the following season, he actually pulled me aside before a game that I had and said, "Look, I've seen the footage back. I actually should have stopped the game at the first tackle, and that would have stopped any reaction you had because the tackle was that bad." And that's why I reacted. I've got a short temper sometimes anyway, but not in life, but in football, and it was one of them. So yeah, I think I got a 6-game ban or something for that. So although I thanked the referee for apologising, I said, "Cheers, they gave me a fair break to do a mini pre-season to get going again."
Alright, who were you playing for at that time?
Locos.
Locos, aye. Oh well, sorry to bring up that bad memory, Jamie, but we've got you as well. I'm sure people will be interested. You obviously signed for Huntly in the summer, but haven't really been able to kick a ball for them. Just tell us about your sort of injury that you suffered and where you are in terms of coming back.
It's been frustrating, but Huntly have been very good. But I hurt myself in the last game of last season playing for Forest, and being honest, at the time I knew I'd done something serious, but me being me, I just tried to put it down to just being a ligament issue or something. So when I signed with Huntly, I kind of made them aware that I was kind of struggling with my knee, but I was still at that point determined that I would just be a few weeks behind kind of everyone else. But I kind of got worse as time went on, and then it completely kind of buckled from me. So I went to get it seen to. So yeah, I've ruptured my cruciate and torn both meniscus. So I've done all the kind of the pre-op stuff now. So I'll be getting an operation just in the next wee while, and they're going to do an ACL reconstruction, then put a couple of little internal knee braces in as well. But I'm determined. It's probably made me more determined now as I'm kind of getting a wee bit older that I want to get back at least for another season or two. Also, right now I'm just thinking about getting back altogether. But I think I'm really determined now, probably more than I've ever been the last wee while to get back playing. And I think just with signing with Huntly, I was excited about signing for Huntly as well. After a good spell at Forest, where I just thought I'm ready to kind of kick on for a couple of seasons. So it's been frustrating, but now that I've kind of got to the bottom of it, got my head round the kind of time it's going to take to fix, I'm now looking forward to get the operation and then start the rehab. And lucky enough as well that I know a lot of people that have had a similar operation that have done the rehab, and been speaking to a lot of them about kind of the type of things they did or maybe didn't do to kind of help them along the way. So so I need to cut down on the Saturday nights out for a wee while, give my body a wee rest, and then
no dancing on a Saturday night now, is that
it? I'll rule it out for 4 to 6 weeks.
But I suppose, being slightly serious again, Jamie, like, can I speak to lots of folk, and it's not for guys like yourself who are maybe nearer the end of your career than the start in terms of playing. It's never the way you really want to finish, is it? Going out sort of injured, you want to try and finish in your own terms.
No, that's it, 100%. I think it gets taken away from people sometimes as well, that they don't get to finish on their own terms. And I was worried that was going to be the way for me. But I'd always kind of said 35 was kind of the age I always wanted to kind of play anyway, because you've given a lot of time up to football up and for that length of time up to the age of 35. I thought that's probably the age I'll look to be kind of stopping anyway. So it's probably, like you say, it's made me more determined to make sure I'm back and ready and give it another go. And can Huntly are still willing to honour the contract with me for at least a year. I spoke to the manager and the chairman about that. They're still keen to see me playing for Huntly, so it'll then just be up to me to make sure I do everything properly post-op, hope everything goes well, and then get myself fit and ready to go. But yeah, like I say, the determination's there not to finish on an injury and go out on my own terms. And if it is just one more season and I need to finish because of the knee or something like that, then at least I'll have done what I set out to do.
Well, it's been a pleasure to chat to you, Jamie. Thank you for coming on and speaking to us on Highland League Weekly, and we hope to see you back soon as well.
No bother. Thanks very much, Callum. Ta-ra.